Good afternoon. Welcome to Between Two Teapots. We are here today with James and Denny of TeaDB. Say hi, guys.
How's it going?
Hi, guys. What's up?
And we made some changes to the stream format. I was able to actually get all three people on the stream at the same time. We got a little 3DB tea threesome going on here, something like that. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. If still working out some of the audio issues, so if there's any audio stuff that's not right, let me know, and I'll attempt to take care of it. And but other than that, let's have some tea. We're drinking our Crimson Lotus Tea's Troublemaker, which is this little fancy little brick here, and I'll just pass it off to Denny. Denny's got some, and so there we go. Just went right to Denny, and he took a little sample. Pass it over to James. Liquid Proust is in the chat. Awesome. No, this is a fun tea. I've actually got my little troublemaker shirt on with this fun design. If Liquid Proust is in the chat, which he is, you guys have seen his Liquid Proust has a Troublemaker hoodie on. We did some little Troublemaker merch on the site. Shout out there. So anyways, yeah, so you guys already I'd given you guys some of this tea before, or you had some of it already. I can't remember. So
I have not had it.
You've not had it yet.
Gave it to me, and I broke up a sample and gave it to Denny, but I have not actually had the tea yet.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Awesome so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys know what's going on with pu'er. You know, like everybody in the mid 2000s was pressing stuff in this exact same brick format. Not really sure why, but Jenny, why don't you show us your teaware? It is between three teapots, so we want to see what you're brewing with.
I have a slightly cracked Gaiwan here.
All right.
It's got some love nicks. Not sure if this is.
There you go.
A couple of little cracks in there.
Call it chippy.
Yeah, and then the same with the lid. I like the lid shape a fair amount though. It's got kind of a high little, like, I don't know what you would call this, indent at the top here, and it's wide and squat.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
you like that. You like that size a little bit more. I like Gaiwan's a little bit wider and squattier as well. James, what are you brewing in?
I am using some very high-end teaware that I got from Viet in the Vietnamese side of the International District for about $6. So a really inexpensive Gaiwan here.
So it looks like it's between one teapot.
Functional. Yeah. It looks like we just have one teapot going on.
I
have a teapot out for our second tea of the day.
Nice. Okay. All right. Okay. Good.
I have one as well.
So, and then we'll switch to a third tea. Denny has included a very special herbal infusion, which we're going to be going with. I'm excited about it. I'm not normally into the herbal infusion teas, but I figured we'd branch out a little bit for
flashbacks to a different time of my life. That was the before 4 time.
Llama. Yeah. If you guys haven't watched TeaDB's latest video, Denny actually gets the opportunity to explore some of the fine Yunnan countryside, and I'm impressed. Llama was particularly impressed with that that you were able to film such culturally specific houses during your trip there, and also your Yunnan accent is spot on. It is spot.
Thank you. On. You know what, dude? I honestly, as like a slight interjection here.
Yeah.
I rarely get really, really worried about how offensive I am. Just as a professional risk taker extraordinaire. Yeah. However, that episode, I felt like, man, this is like, not only is this is clearly inappropriate. Let's get that straight. But borderline really offensive. So if anyone is wondering, I do have a conscience. I just disregard it.
Denny recorded the audio file for that and sent it over for the voiceover. And I think the title he put was, "I'm Going to Hell."
.mp3, yes.
Yeah. So you guys have actually now probably killed any chance you ever wanted of actually going to mainland China. But we'll just anyways, so yes, we're actually on steep 1 I'm still
I
on a
drink.
wash here, guys. I'm a little slow. I talk too much, but
No, it's
I
good.
will show off
It's
the teapot that I'm using. This is a nice. It's actually an sheng, nice yellow clay Dwani style thing. Little kind of squatty shippy out thing. I like it a lot. Cool little teapot. It was a gift to us from one of Lamu's friends or family when we were in China. So we kind of bring it out for special occasions. Usually a little bit more of the aged tea. But I like the lighter clay teapots that actually have like actual like carving in there, because then over time, you know, it just kind of starts to, you know, the tea oils build up inside of there. So, so we had James on. It was just James and Glenn in a session that was what, early January or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. A few months ago.
2 or 3 months ago. I mean, true story. Like, we put the invitation out to Denny, and Denny's like, "Yeah, dude, I don't think that show is going to go anywhere." So he's just like, I was just like, "All right, man." I mean, so the invitation was there, but Denny was like, "No, it's not going to happen." But then ever since then, he's like, "Dude, man, the show's getting so popular. I want to get on." So we had to work you in
now.
had to work you in here, but it's awesome. No, it's great. I really enjoy enjoy the opportunities that when we have to brew tea together, which really isn't that often. You know, it's, you know, when we're in China and you guys are busy doing work, and usually I get to see you guys like at the tea festival maybe, and then we try to do like one little tea video tasting thing a year or something like that. But it's fun. I miss hanging out with you guys.
And hopefully again soon. I don't know about everyone else, but I feel like we're turning a corner, at least in Washington. It seems like availability and stuff post-pandemic for vaccines is high. So yeah, anyway, yeah, I'm optimistic. Can I ask you a question, Glenn?
Yeah, dude, go for it.
So, I mean, this tea is extremely hard still, hard pressed.
Hard pressed, yeah.
And so can you tell us more about this tea?
So this tea, this format was used like a ton in early mid 2000s. You know, it's a fang cha. It's a brick. It usually has, you know, like some zhongcha style logo on the front, and then some, you know, characters and stuff pressed into the back. I always thought these bricks were just cool to begin with. You know, 100-gram bricks. In my experience, a lot of what I've had in these was not really like the highest quality material. So, you know, we found like a friend of a friend had some. I really enjoyed it. I was like, wow, this is actually really good. It had like a nice level of smokiness that I enjoyed. Some smokiness I don't like. I told Lama, I was like, hey, these things are pretty good. It's like mid 2000s. It wasn't a bad price. I was like, we could pick some of these up, kind of like round out our collection stuff, whatever what we sell. And then began like a 1-year process of trying to negotiate with the lady who actually like owned the material, and like she'd be like, yeah, I'll sell it to you for this price, and then we'd go, okay, well, here's the money, and she's like, well, now it's more, and we're like, well, that's not fair. And so we kind of unironically ended up naming it Troublemaker just because of all the trouble we had with her. Like, we were like, all right, fine, well, give us the original price, but we'll buy like, double the amount of units or something like that. And then she's just like, okay, but then I don't know. It was just really, really, really awkward going back and forth. So I never ever want to deal with her again. But we got the tea, and I mean, we ended up having to pay more than we had originally agreed. But you know, whatever. Got the tea now, and so I found some cool ancient Chinese brushstroke art. And the Chinese don't really do a lot of stuff like this in my experience. You see a lot more interesting things like this, maybe dealing with ideas around death and art and stuff from Japanese artwork and stuff. So I was kind of really fascinated with that art, and so just kind of all work together. And so that's the rough story of Troublemaker. I don't know where the material came from, or do I? Can't remember. Anyways,
seems like it's Kunming aged.
Probably, yeah. It doesn't have too much of a wet thing on, but I am brewing it in some fancy new silver cups. Look at that, and the wide screen, the fisheye lens. Silver just looks gorgeous like that.
Nice.
Anyways, yeah. So I mean, but you guys have had stuff from this same area pressed in the same like shape and stuff, right? I mean, everybody seems to have something like that.
Cheers.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, no, I was excited to find it. It's got a nice little little aggressive. It's still, but it's still kind of smooth. It's got some little smokiness on it. Maybe this is the maybe this would be Danny would describe this as diesel, maybe.
Yeah, I mean the smoke is well integrated, kind of as you said. It's not overwhelmingly smoky. I'm always concerned when I hear something smoky that it's too prominent, but I don't think that's necessarily the case, at least not on the initial steep for me.
Yeah, it has a nice sweetness to it, at least initially. So
some good color. A little bit drier stored, but
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's a fun tea, and it's got the type of smokiness that I like, where the smokiness is a little bit more on the mineral side. What's the spacing on my tea terms. It smells like when I used to do a lot of caving and stuff as a kid, go into some caves down in Georgia and stuff, and you get into certain areas and different minerals mixing with like the water, and kind of in the dry air as it blew through would kind of introduce some nice little aroma. So it kind of smells like some cave minerals, I guess. So I'm going to make a shout out to the people in the Discord group. If anybody's in Discord, if you're not in Discord, go to discord.gg/tea. They're probably sitting there chatting about it and creating new tea memes as we speak, which is it's always entertaining. You guys are your own memes now, right?
It's disturbing.
I think
I'll just
so.
be on Slack and just like get all these memes.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, this is who I am. This is who I've become.
Yeah. This is why I don't go on the streams anymore. So we were joking before. So I mean, so usually what I do for those who are watching, I like to try and like meet with people I'm going to be streaming with, like the day or 2 days before. We do like a quick little test stream, make sure everything's fine. Our schedules are too varied. It was hard to get all three people together, so we figured we'll do it live. So we met at 2:00 and logged in and started figuring out all the problems and stuff. And then I realized, like, yeah, you guys just record everything. You guys don't do a whole lot of like straight like live. You got to talk, right?
No, none.
We ever done. I've never done a live thing. Yeah, this is my first time. It's cool.
It is kind of fun. You have to kind of learn to fill in the blanks, but we'll get good questions from the chat as well. There's a lot of people from the Discord are here, which is nice.
Awesome. We're on. So I can't see that perspective of things. How many people are in the chat right now? Or
we've got 59 concurrent viewers. So we've I think we beat out the Glenn and James record, which was somewhere around 45. So Denny's already got a little bit of a draw there. Liquid Proust, who's in chat, he's got the number 2 spot. Liquid Proust is up there with 99, but Marshall Land is at the top with like 150. So I don't think Marshall Land's getting topped anytime soon. But
T goals.
Yeah, if anybody knows anybody else that wants to jump in, check out the chat. Ivory Flute 86 says that we're honored to have Denny. We are honored to have Denny. I'm really excited that we're able to work this out with all three of us. So
he's hard to get. He's in the mountains half the time.
Well, yeah, I had people on the Discord send me private messages on their theories about like why Denny isn't around so often. So, do you want to hear the list of what people theorize? Some are wondering if you're actually a member of a SEAL team working internationally, doing anti-terrorism, counterterrorism task force stuff. Getting out there.
If that was true, I couldn't tell you guys because I'd have to kill you.
So it may be true. Some were wondering if you're a member of a Sasquatch hunting team, which is close to revealing new, interesting stuff found in the Northwest Mountains. Possible? Yes? No?
I have been exploring big game recently, so.
No, it's good.
This is delicious, by the way.
It is. It's a really nice little tea. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, if you guys don't know, we're going to be doing 2 teas today. So we're going to be brewing through this one, see where it takes us, and then after this, we've got something special from James's personal collection, which I'm excited to try as well. I told James to send something that he likes, and so we're gonna move to that after this. Yeah, put James's tastes on the spot. So you
What's
guys,
everyone drinking in chat?
Yeah,
Post up
exactly. There we go. If you're in chat
post up
and
what
you're drinking,
right now.
tell us. Yeah, exactly. Tell us what you're drinking now. Denny knows how to do this. Good job.
Thank you.
They're asking you to join the Discord, Denny. They want you to be on the. Well, you actually may be on the Discord. James was on the Discord for like 2 or 3 years before he ever revealed that he was on the Discord. He's just in the background watching. So maybe Denny's there too.
I'm the one that's actually started the wave of requesting the Denisodes just to build my own hype.
Awesome. All right, if you're in the Discord, try and figure out which one of you is Denny. You can play your own little version of Among Us. Denny's there.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, that's kind of... No, the Discord's a lot of fun. Let's see. Komei's drinking 1990s Heisha Lubao from Three Bears. Expanded Random's drinking a Yunnan Light, or maybe a Yunnan White. Lucifagus, a 20-year-old Baimudan. Carl's drinking some Korean black tea. Marty's drinking a mystery sheng, put in a Mylar bag. Forgot to label it. Can confirm that it's sheng, though. I do that all the time. I'm really bad about forgetting to label samples. Is it steamed milk? Yeah. Somebody's guessing that steamed milk, the user, is Denny on the chat. I don't know. It could be. Have you ever seen steamed milk and Denny in the same room together?
I have not, personally. And
Fakery's drinking a Rogue Way. Somebody's drinking a Yunnan Oolong, a Yunlong, non-pu'er Yunnan Oolong. Interesting. Michelle is drinking some show pu'er. Michelle, are we on the big screen? Michelle and Derek usually put us up on the big screen, and then they sit there and have tea with their dogs while they watch us. Anybody else got us on the big screen? If not, why not? Put us on the big screen. Brew some tea. Morrison's drinking Kura's EXE, switching to something else shortly. Man, is anybody drinking anything from Crimson Lotus?
I am.
So yeah. So Denny, what do you get up to when you're not live streaming or recording tea videos? How do you spend your time, man?
Yeah. I am really into ultralight backpacking. It's just backpacking, but with light gear or not a lot of gear.
Yeah.
Or not a lot of gear, which is very light. And that led me to actually getting really into or learning how to sew my own gear and make my own gear and learn all about manufacturing of fabrics and things like that even. So I've been really enjoying that. There's a community on Reddit called RMYOG, Make Your Own Gear. Check it out. Let's see. So I've been really enjoying that. I'm kind of a hobbyist in general with a lot of stuff. I don't go crazy deep, but I like to enjoy a lot of stuff. So my recent project right now is building a sauna in my backyard.
Nice. Yeah, you're pretty DIY. You're a handy guy, right?
Yes. Yeah. Nice. That's why they call me Denny Handyman Chapin, actually. So.
Denny Handyman. And that's your Instagram is Denny Creates, which is apropos, but you don't use it too much, do you?
I don't. I'm a pretty bad social media internet sleuth at this point. Man, if it wasn't run by the Zuck, I think I'd be a little bit more of a fan. But
I find it's you make what you can of it, and the community makes what you can of it. Reddit, you know how it is. Like Reddit's got some really amazing areas, and then it's got some really like horrible little areas, and so you concentrate on the positives. For me, Instagram's actually a positive place, primarily just because of the tea community. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, totally, and I think it's just how you use it. So 100% agree. But yeah, no, that stuff. I do have a job that requires a fair amount of energy and work.
Yeah.
Those are my main interests right now. I'm trying to learn how to like replace my electrical sockets to 20 amp sockets right now.
All around the whole house?
Just for the sauna. I bought a 110 volt little tiny sauna. I'm making like a one person little bubble dome.
Are we gonna see any tea sauna videos? Is there gonna be any steamy videos with you in there? Because that could be That could be kind of fun.
Could just brew the whole tea cake in the sauna.
Just toss it
toss it
in
in.
in the steam.
I'll be posting that on my OnlyFans later. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Go ahead, promote it, man. Put it out there. Get us the link. You're gonna get a ton of followers. You know you would, man. If you had an OnlyFans, that would be you'd be surprised, man.
Press F in chat for my political career, please.
Yeah. Well,
No, that was gone long ago, man.
yeah.
It's true.
Did you have political aspirations at one point in time? Were you gonna go for
Oh
that?
my god.
No. Yeah, I just got done rewiring a house that Lamo and I are working on fixing up. So I've got a lot of electrical on my mind. Just make sure you do it right.
100%. Yeah. Turning the thing like breakers off, things like that before you do it.
Yes.
Mission critical steps.
Yeah. Yes. Definitely turn the breakers off, and remember to lick the black before you touch the white, and then you'll be fine. Or which red on black? I don't know. Yeah. I forget. You'll figure it out. You'll do it live.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Either it works or it doesn't. It's not like it's rocket science. It's just electricity.
This is great.
I just see some left-handed Gaiwan use, Denny. What's with that?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
I like to cross. I have a crossover move every once in a while.
Pretty sure I'd burn myself like that.
Ambidextrous.
Yeah. I guess
The amount of tea, I don't know. So visually, it's probably pretty hard to see at this point, but in terms of the volume of the tea itself, it's still hard pressed. I can still feel like the strength of the interior compression. Yeah. So I can still feel that it's not completely absorbed yet. I love that. Yeah. Because it's just like extended release. I actually kind of find that as well. Although if you go back and watch the stream with Marshall N, he kind of scolded me for doing that. So I was just like, I kind of like it. I kind of like to be able to do a slow steep. But he was like, nope, you got to break it all the way up. And I can respect both things. But what about you, James? Did you fully bring it to powder before you brought it in?
Not fully to powder, but I was probably dealing with a little smaller chunks than what it sounds like both of you were. I had like 13, 14 pieces of it.
Got it.
And I was brewing about 5 grams, so pretty small overall.
Yeah, it is a relatively hard pressed one. I mean, you guys can see that. It's not too hard to break it apart, if you have a handy tool like a Bing Slayer. But in order to get like the really complex shapes, for those of you that don't know about how tea is pressed, to get anything that actually becomes like recognizable characters, you really have to use a heavy compression. And look at this, man! There's such really nice buds that glow in that cake. I really actually really like the material in this cake.
Yeah, it's tasty. You get energy, get sweetness, little hint of astringency and mouth pucker. Mostly though, just enjoying like a sweet, saccharine, smoky. It feels very autumnal to me in that way. Just kind of like when I would want to drink this tea, I think would be in that time of year, darker days. So
perfect for a nice,
really
bright spring Seattle afternoon.
Yeah. How long? If I could ask, how long have you been storing this tea in Seattle, Glenn?
So we're actually all out of all the Seattle ones. So
okay.
I don't have any in Seattle.
Okay.
But I had.
So this is Kunming stored the whole time, like 15 years.
So let me think. So I would have given you. Well, Did I give you guys this sample like in January of this year when I sent you the other tea? Is that when it was?
I believe so. Yes.
Maybe. Yeah. So that would have come from our Seattle inventory, and that was probably only here in Seattle. Maybe just a year. A little more than a year, less than a year and a half. So it wasn't really here that long. But other than that, I believe it was Kunming. Man, like all the teas just kind of run together with me over time. Let me see what I wrote down on the site.
Shout out to James, because James has always been this way. I've known James for a long time. So one thing I admire about James is he is like so thorough. He is so thorough. James is like thinks in databases, and check out James's tea log of what he's been drinking. The dude is just exhaustive. I will say, like I'm much more on the Glenn side of being organized.
Yeah.
And James is on the like
That's why your
level.
site's literally called TeaDB, and that's not because of the database on the site. That's literally a reference to James's brain.
That's
Exactly.
not true.
That's not true.
It's completely true. We
100%
both know
true.
it's true.
It's totally true.
Bulong,
Majority rules. Deal with it.
Bulong,
Trust a thorough person, not
mid
named after.
2000s, mid 2000s Bulong. Yeah, mid 2000s Bulong material. Kunming stored. What I put down in my notes. That's it. But
it's great. I'm enjoying the lasting sweetness. Some of these teas, especially in the early steeps. So some young greener characteristics can be sweet. Then they can kind of transition into a bitterness that's, depending on the tea, enjoyable. It can be a little intense. This one is, for me at least, been saccharine and sweet throughout. I feel like this would be a pretty easy tea. You know, we talk about the Montes, but also like a beginner pu'er drinker. I think this would be a pretty enjoyable tea to dabble in, certainly, just by virtue of it being friendly and not as abrasive as some. I mean, the age is playing to that a little bit, but some other teas that I know we've had on the show, and those can be fine to drink and then try them, store them, hang out on them, but this is great right now.
Denny, do you do a pu'er storage? You got a setup at home?
I don't.
Just kind of scratch at James's back door. You got any more of that humid stored poo?
I pretty much keep it in like a wooden chest, out of plastic, and that's about as much as I do. It's so.
Did you make the wooden chest? Did you hand carve it out of a stump of cedar that you dragged out of the woods?
Yeah, actually, I beaver carved it with my teeth. It was a long week. I don't know what people expected or what I expected, but anyway, you're getting what it's been like.
Nice. I knew we'd have some fun on this stream today. Anybody has any questions in chat for James or Denny? Go ahead, just toss them in. If I don't see it, put it again in all caps, and then I'll be able to see it that way. James had to step out for a moment of re-education, but he's back now.
That was me, actually, but I go by James.
Denny, the Jennies. Sorry, man. I have dyslexia, and I also have 2 children, so my brain is gone. It's gone.
That's all good.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm heating up my water.
Oolong Owl is here in chat as well. What's going on, Oolong Owl? Jugpan. Oh, yeah, that's a good question, Jugpan. Jugpan wants to know what my plan is with the vintage wooden tea bags. I'm not sure if you guys saw that. I posted recently on Instagram. Realtor friend of mine was helping to clean out a house in the Seattle area. And the owners were like, "Hey, we've got this old tea box. Do you want it?" And he's just like, "Well, no, but like I think I know somebody who does." And so he sends me a message with a couple pictures. I'm like, "Well, that looks really interesting. Let's take a look." And so turns out it's like 120, 140-year-old like wooden tea chest from like a Portland area, like a tea importer that started in like the 1880s. They had like a horse-drawn tea and coffee delivery service that they ran like in Portland, like 140 years ago. We think that's all like cool and trendy now. What was the spacing on the Closet and Devers? These two guys started doing coffee import roasting in Portland. They did and so this box, it's this wooden box. It's actually tin lined, and it like perfectly seals, and so it would have been like packed with a green tea from Japan. It's got this big label on the inside, like basket fired Japanese tea and something like that. Super cool. It's got like a bunch of nice pictures. It's really, really super weathered. The outside of it, the labeling on the outside is almost all gone, but you open it up on the inside, and inside of the tin, it still has like this giant label that was stuck on there. It's just amazing. It's almost like that, late 1800s Portland, Seattle. Like that was wild country. I mean, people think about like East Coast countries and cities in the U.S. which have been around since like the 1700s, but Seattle and Portland basically got started like only like 100 years ago. They're just such young cities. So.
Yeah, that's cool. That's just a fun a fun artifact.
But yeah, I don't know. Jugpan's question is, what is my plan with it? I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Like, I mean, obviously, I need to like save it for posterity or something like that. It's not like I can cut it up and make like a tea table or something out of it. It's just a super cool thing. Ivory Flute 86 wants to know how often Jenny and James's coincide in their pu'er preferences. How often you guys actually like both 100% agree on a pu'er?
That's a good question. I guess clarification needed, which would be, do we, in terms of our preference for enjoying it, or just do we agree on the same characteristics of the tea? It's an interesting dynamic. I'll answer the second question first, at least for myself, with the show when we film, because I'll be thinking of something and not naming it, and then James will like hit it on the head, and I'm like, that is 100% what it is. And there's sort of an interesting conversation that takes place when you are, really into tea, I guess, around flavors and the shared experience there. I obviously really enjoy just having tea with friends and chatting and not paying as much attention to the tea, but being able to do sort of like a Marco Polo almost with the actual tea that you're drinking is cool. I don't know. I think James has more intense preferences for pu'er than I do. Definitely, I would hazard a guess. There's like only so much old funkiness that I can handle, or maybe even young funkiness, I'd say, before I'm like, yo.
James, you a little bit more into the funk.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about like wetter stored or Hong Kong traditional storage pu'er, I do like that stuff. I think Denny does too. So I don't know that we're ever terribly different on our preferences, but I mean, I think there's definitely some teas that Denny is going to drink just naturally way more often. And this isn't necessarily speaking to the show, but just our specific preferences. Like I think Denny probably drinks a lot more black tea than myself. I rarely drink that stuff, and I probably drink a lot more pu'er than Denny. My very educated guess.
Well, Denny, you also do some of the bulletproof coffee stuff, right? You still into that? You still do that? Yeah, Denny. Sorry, Denny. Yeah.
I just didn't hear you. Not so much. I'll have like a black coffee in the morning, 1 cup, and that's pretty good. Like wake me up. It's largely supplemental. I'm trying to think of the right word. Pharmaceutical.
Something pharmaceutical.
I'm not as much. It's interesting. As much as I can sit there at a nice cafe and enjoy a good cup of coffee, I don't have that same built-up habit of really focusing and paying attention on what I'm drinking with coffee. It's not that I couldn't. Coffee is deep, and I've had fun and interesting experiences around coffee too. But that sounded a little bit vague. I've been to like a roastery and like tasted single roast, single batch coffees and things like that. And that's been cool. But for whatever reason, I just like have this tea muscle at this point. It's hard not to sit there and think about it when I'm having a cup of tea. So.
Yeah, you guys mentioned kind of this, a synergy that you've gotten in your reviews and things, and I've started to notice that over time with Lamo and I. We kind of our separate experiences about tea can kind of like come together, and she'll find characteristics in the tea that like I didn't find, or she'll be able to describe something in a way that I didn't find, and so it's actually really important for us to actually sit down together with any new teas and actually have the session together so that we can both kind of come to an agreement on that. So that's kind of cool that you guys. You guys have been a duo for a long time though, like long before tea, right? You guys have been best buds for a long time.
Dude, what? Yeah.
Did you guys go to school together? How did you guys meet? What's the origin story?
Probably first met in 6th grade.
Middle school sometime. I don't know if it was 6th
Yeah,
grade.
yeah. So we grew up in the same area, and then basically we were like proto Twitch for Warcraft 3. We would do audio commentary for Warcraft 3 together.
Yeah.
So literally we'd be like watching a replay. There was no ability to stream video. There's no YouTube. Yeah. So we'd like record on Audacity and start.
Wow.
This is 100%
how
we did it. Yeah, dude. And say like, okay, unpause in 3, 2, 1. And then it's the exact same setup. James is completely the expert. I'm like not kidding when I say James is like encyclopedic and I'm there for comedic relief. It was the exact same thing. Yeah, James was like extremely, extremely good at this video game, and I enjoyed joking around about it. And
so that was probably what, late 90s, early 2000s. When was that?
2002, 2003, something
right.
like that.
Yeah.
So that was after like the Dota clones of Warcraft 3, or like straight like vanilla Warcraft.
Pre-Dota.
Pre-Dota. Okay.
Yeah.
Straight
right.
Warcraft.
Yeah. It was when there was still a like competitive ladder and stuff.
Do you guys still have those? Do you guys still have those videos out? You still have copies of those videos somewhere, man? People would love to see that stuff.
Yeah. Well, there weren't videos. It was literally like an MP3 file.
Oh, really?
Play.
Oh, okay.
On like a forum, Warcraft replays, and then and then we had like a weekly or whatever it was, and I don't know who knows how many we did. And then we've been doing like weird projects together for more years in our lives than not, probably at this point. Just kind of crazy.
That's really cool. James and I were talking about this last time, and I've also got like a history of esports and stuff like that. Not Warcraft 3 never really grabbed me for very long, but for me it was always StarCraft. I was just a big huge StarCraft nut, and for me my vision was once I got old enough, my vision was to be be able to hang out in a bar and drink beers with my friends and watch like professional like esports on the screen. So I started setting up these events in Seattle called Barcraft, and so like once a week, twice a week, all my nerd friends would go in. We'd sit in a bar, and I had like a profit sharing like cut with like the bar owner and things like that. I had custom StarCraft menu, custom StarCraft drinks and drink specials and all this sort of stuff. So did a lot of esports promo thing. We called it Barcraft. It was a ton of fun. And then I was talking with James about it, and James was like, I think I went to those Barcrafts. And so this idea that like James and I were maybe like hanging out in a bar entirely like unrelated to anything tea before either one of us were actually into tea, but both hanging out in an esports bar like years before we actually knew each other just kind of fascinates me. Denny, did you go to Barcraft? Did you hang out at Barcraft in Seattle?
I didn't, but I think it's a good idea. I think Seattle's a great city for it too. And I would have probably said 5 years ago that that's something that would be really hard to pull off. And at this point, I think that's an inevitability. Esports is so popular, the whole Twitch thing. And I think gaming is something that's been really normalized in our lifetimes in a way that I didn't anticipate growing up a total nerd.
So James, what brought you to Barcraft? How did you hear about it back then? It's just
probably on Team Liquid. Probably same place everyone else probably heard about it. I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, it was 10 years ago at this point. So I guess you were quite ahead of the curve if you were organizing Barcrafts 10, 11 years ago too.
Yeah, it was. It just kind of everything just. It was one of those things that just kind of like all worked together, right? I really wasn't. There was a whole bunch of like like live streaming esports. At least in the West. I'm not talking about GSL in Korea or something like that, which had been going for almost a decade at that point in time. I'm talking about like Western players, like Western commentators, Western streamers, Western audience, Western streaming hours and stuff was really kind of starting off with like somewhere around like the North American Star League times and stuff like that. And so I was just like, man, this is awesome. Like we could totally do this in a bar. We could totally find this in a bar. And all my friends just thought that was the stupidest thing. They're like, it's never going to happen. Like it never. And I'm like, I think I could do it. I could do it. And, right around the same time, I was just hanging at this one bar in Capitol Hill, which is gone now. It's all condos. And the owner was Korean, and he was super into StarCraft. And I'm like, man, this place, gotta admit, like he got a cool bar, but it's kind of slow. Like, let me run some little test events. I'll bring in some nerds. We'll put some StarCraft on the screens. And he's like, yeah, sure, man, just do it. And then it was just ridiculous. There was like the first night there was just like a line down the street. It was like standing room only. It was like absolute nerd heaven. And so he gave me like the slowest day of the week was a Wednesday night. And he's like, so do you think you could do this like more than once a week? Sure, man. Let's do it. So that was that was the start of it. So
Glenn, have you always been entrepreneurial, or the impulse that you had to just put together something and organize something like that is unique?
I think it's something that my mom wanted me to have, and so my mom was always trying to get us to do things like that. I mean, so we were homeschooled, so we always kind of had like a little bit more of like a do-it-yourself impulse, and family didn't have a whole lot of money, so if we really wanted to do anything, like basically the kids had to, she's like, hey, if you guys want to go to Six Flags this summer, you got to figure out a way to make the money. And so there were like these coupon books and things, and she'd have us go door to door, like selling coupon books for some company. And then that company, we started selling tons of them. And the company was like, hey, you know what? We got like a bunch of boxes of junk that nobody else wants to sell. Do your kids want to sell it? And we were like, no, please, no. And mom's like, sure, sounds great. And like, give us the wheelbarrow and like pull these little bucket of trinket junk house to house in the neighborhood. They were probably so annoyed with us because we just went house to house just trying to sell random stuff. So I think eventually it kind of stuck in some capacity, at least. I don't exactly like really enjoy doing that sort of stuff, but it's just kind of like it's just kind of in my blood at this point in time. But
she probably did you a favor though by giving you the confidence and the experience from a young age to go and feel comfortable giving something to somebody and asking in exchange for that value for money. And that's something that I know in my journey and other people, kind of tangent here, but that's a skill that scares people to death. I mean, that's a very hard thing for a lot of people to do. They think they can do it, and then when they actually go and have to go and ask for getting reimbursed for their value they're providing, be it tea or just whatever it is. Whereas it seems like you were just excited to go and put together some collaborative experience with a business owner and make some money on the side too. It's really cool.
I find the same difficulties running the tea business, because you end up having to have an absolute focus on business more than tea at some certain point.
Right.
And I much prefer wearing my tea sourcing hat and going to remote areas in Yunnan and kind of like living the sourcing life and driving from city to city and doing the exploring and interacting with locals and finding rare gems and building things and coming up with labels and names and blends. I love that. And then I come back here and I have to put on my tea selling hat, and there's a certain level of it that really kind of like creeps me out. I feel a little bit like a used car salesman. I mean, I'm not selling, crappy teas. I'm not trying to like sell people on things that they don't want. But at some point in time, like, you bought the teas, now you got to sell the teas. And it's go to crimsonlotustea.com.
But here's the thing is when people come to you and they're like, hey, I need help with this. That's the part where it's easy. I think if you're a budding entrepreneur or someone who's looking to, do something outside of a traditional role, when you find something that people want, it's a lot less awkward to have those people come to you and say, hey, I know you're offering this thing that I want. Can I have it? And you're like, yeah, okay.
It helps to be able to trust what you sell. Absolutely. And, even, just last week, we had, like a handful of, actually this was like, it was in the course of the last couple months, getting some, show samples from some of the people that we work with in China, and, getting some of this stuff in. Lamo and I are sitting there tasting it. And, there's a limited window when we've got like an option to buy. We're kind of like holding some of it in reserve, especially since we can't, get there this year. And so, having to do lots of little tricks and things like that with some of the people who are more than happy to sell it to whoever comes into the shop. So kind of like putting a little money down, like waiting for the sample to get here, trying it and things like that. And then getting some of these teas and then just like not liking it and then just trying it again and again and again and again and again. It's just like, man, this is it's a good deal. Like we technically like kind of pre-bought it, but like this just isn't good. And coming to that hard decision, it's just like, we can't do it. I can't go with it. Like that makes like the selling easier for me, because I'm not going to put something on my site unless I enjoy enjoy drinking it. And so, but yeah.
Yeah, that's big.
Question
especially
in
an industry like this.
question
Sorry,
in
just
question
to
in
feed you.
chat for James.
Yeah.
James, pick a tea for each of the Warcraft 3 factions: Orc, Human, Undead, and Night Elf. What would they drink?
Jesus. Oh
Let's hear it.
Oh man. You're gonna have to give me a little bit of time on that. So
All
what,
right.
Night Elf, Undead, Orc, and Human?
Yeah. Well, we can
This
kind
is
of
the pairing I was not prepared for.
we've stumped James's TeaDB. He's got to reboot the database for a second there, guys.
Yeah.
Well, let me think about it. Human, at least human in Warcraft should be easy, right? I mean, let's just make it like a straight up Earl Grey, right? Can we do that? Does that work? Human in Warcraft 3. It's got a little bit of a British military like influence in like the design and stuff, right? Would you say that? What do you think?
Right.
you disagree?
Works for me.
Works for you. All right.
Yeah.
So
I think Night Elf would be like a Taiwanese oolong.
okay, I can go with that.
Yeah,
Good
something
balance.
very green, like a high mountain
Yeah.
sort of deal.
Yeah, sure. Lishan Mountain
There you go.
competition grid,
Let's
2006.
see. So we've got yeah, exactly. I can see that. Orc and Undead. I don't know. Like I could see Undead going for just like a really super smoky Lapsang Souchong or something like that. Just I don't know. That's where I'd put
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
James, what do you think? That means all you gotta do is pick Orc.
Either that or some very dank pu'er for Undead.
Yeah.
Orc?
Sure. Yeah, something that actually like came out of a grave stored pu'er.
Yeah, something that comes out of like a mountain in Hong Kong. Orc? Jesus. Like rock tea, yancha,
Okay.
red, color association.
All right.
I don't know.
That's it. That's the tier list, guys.
Well, so the second question is Protoss, Terran, and Zerg.
Oh man. Stop.
we can circle back. We can circle back to that one enough. Sven Svensgaard is already disagreeing with us. He said Earl Grey doesn't say militia, rush, and build towers in enemy bases to me though. So, but this is hey, we could have a whole stream about like what video game characters would actually drink. It's kind of fun. Kind of fun to get a little nerdy in the streams. You guys still do much gaming? You guys play anything?
I have a weekly Thursday night during quarantine board game night with some friends, and it's just a weekly thing. People can make it and then don't make it, whatever.
What's the board game?
We did like a lot of what's up?
What's the board game?
So
any board game?
We would play Tabletop Simulator, which lets you load basically any board game on top of it.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was really fun. I just like grabbed a bunch of keys for friends, and then so I do that, and then I don't know, play like 5 Tribes or Exploding Kittens. Keep it pretty casual, just hang out with friends.
James, how about you? What are your current gaming habits?
I don't have any gaming
None
habits.
at all. Little Candy Crush.
No. Nope, no Candy Crush.
I
suspect I might be kind of like some people where either I'm playing a game and I'm playing it pretty hardcore, or I'm not playing it at all. And so for a long time now, it's been not playing anything at all.
Have you guys seen any of the Diablo 2 remastered? Have you seen any of the videos from that? They basically took the whole thing. I was watching my friend playing it on a live stream, and I'm like, oh man, like just the music just came back, and all like the sound of like the anvil clinking and like the gold dropping, and I'm like, it just brought back way too many memories. Yeah.
I already messaged James on Slack about it and was like, rip our free time, basically. Yeah.
It would. That would be I'd be excited because I think they still have like the larger player count cap, so we could We could have like a whole tea server, D2 tea server that was just like Glenn, Denny, James, Lamu, couple other guests running
Denny,
dungeons.
is that game how we were introduced actually?
Probably.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to say yes.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah.
But I'm not positive.
Wow.
That's the only game that I've played where I reached a pinnacle of actually having dreams at night about doing bail runs, and I realized this might be what they're talking about with like the gaming is ruining our culture thing. They were wrong. I just played D2 too much, but yeah. Anyway,
that was pre Warcraft 3, right? I think so,
Yeah,
D2 was 97, 98 ish or something like that.
It's crazy.
Oh, I played that game a ton. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that game. I guess I eventually started moving more towards like cooperative type games where you could play with people. You know, you can only destroy your friends in StarCraft so many times before they just stop playing with you. But, you know, cooperative works a little bit better. But that's fun. I don't have time for games hardly at all anymore. But I could see myself playing a little. It depends on how much they're going to charge for it. You know, I mean, if it's a really high quality like remake, I mean, it could be another $40 or $60, and like the 5 existing copies of LOD I already have. It's not like I can combine them into a free version of the new one. But
yeah, I don't know. I will say the pandemic has reconfigured how I think about spending on some things, and I joke with James about like measuring certain successes in like units of steak. But when you consider how much it costs to go and have like a couple of beers with your friends on a weekend, depending on where you live,
sure,
to be able to loiter on a call like this and share a cup of tea together, or go and play a board game with friends, or whatever, Diablo 2. It's really per hour one of the more affordable things to do.
You're absolutely right. Like I started noticing that, like, when I would spend like a weekend, even if you go out like even just like once or maybe even twice a weekend with friends, like pre-pandemic, go to a bar or something, a couple drinks here, a couple drinks here, like you shout your friends, you get a whole round or something like that. And you could easily spend 100, 150, or even more, like in a single evening, in like 1 or 2 hours. And if you may not even remember the evening, but like if you sat down with 5 of your friends and you wanted to spend $200 on like a tea session, man, that would be a memorable tea session. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, or like cooking an incredible meal for people and things like that, which I'm so excited for. What are you guys looking to, speaking of the sort of ending of the pandemic a little bit here, what are you guys looking forward to most in terms of?
I just want to be able to have tea in person with people again. I really enjoyed doing that. These video stream things have actually been a really awesome way to kind of just be a stopgap for that. It's actually a lot of fun. I mean, we're having tea with 61 people right now, or 62, 3, 64. I wouldn't be able to even do that in person, but that's super cool. Speaking of, let's start moving into tea number 2. We're just about at the 1 hour mark, so I figured if we dropped an hour into each of these teas, and so I got a nice long last steep of Troublemaker, which is super mellowed out right now. I've got my second teapot warmed up, and James, tell us about what tea number 2 is.
Yeah, so this is the 2003 Wistaria Zippin. So it's from that very famous tea house in Taipei. And I brought it on because A, I think it's a good tea, and B, I thought it'd be fun to try something a little different than what you've had so far on the stream. So
did you get this in person? You've been there, right?
I have been there. I did not get this in person. I got this. They had a sale about a year ago, so I split a cake with a friend. So that's how I have this.
Nice. What is this? What is this? What is this tea? How much does a cake of this tea go for these days?
That's a good question. It's not inexpensive. It's I think it's somewhere in the 250, 260 range for a 357 gram cake.
That's not too bad dollars per gram. Yeah.
No, per gram. Yeah, we're talking about 70 cents or so.
I mean, you can certainly get new creation stuff that is far more than that. Show us your teaware. What are you guys doing with this one?
So I am brewing in one of my older teapots. Probably seen it many times on the show. About 100 milliliters, 90, 100 ching shui ni, supposedly.
I just have simple Yixing.
I know you gave me 10 grams, but I think I'm actually going to use just a little bit less because I'm going to use a smaller pot here. I'm going to put it into one of my nice here we go. This one here is wood fired hand carved Lotus Gen Shui. Give that a go. Llama, you want a little bit of this last of this tea? Llama's sitting over there moderating the chat, kicking out all the trolls. She's doing a lot of work behind the scenes, so she gets a little bit of tea too.
We have a lot of trolls.
Nice work. You'd be surprised.
That's how we know we
You'd be surprised.
made it on the internet.
Shout out to the Llama
trolls.
It was something funny on one of the we haven't been doing like the midnight tea chats lately because we're just too busy on the weekends now, but we had some really funny, like YouTube will cut out like the weirdest comments, like for whatever reason, like I can't, what was the name, some actor's name, it was like Nicolas Cage, like anytime you mentioned like Nicolas Cage, like YouTube would just like block that person's comments and you had to sit there and like manually do it, and it's just the strangest thing. So basically it's people's comments getting accidentally canceled out is what Llama's doing. So she sits there and goes ahead and lets everything through. But yeah, YouTube will just, you never know. Alan Rickman, Ro remembers, and he just got banned again. YouTube does not like you saying Alan Rickman. Just got banned. Everybody try and say Alan Rickman in chat. It's gonna we're gonna screw with the YouTube censors. I don't know why. All right, yeah, so I got mine going here. I'm gonna let it go here. What kind of tea would Nicolas Cage drink? You guys got a whole one-sided series of questions. There we go, Alan Rickman, Eagle Scouter.
Exclusively young raw pu'er, and he'd like enjoy it for some reason, and you could just see him just being like totally nuts. Just like wired.
Oh, Alan Rickman, best TV villain, movie villains ever. So fun. I miss him. I miss seeing his stuff. He was in all sorts of good stuff.
This is incredibly perfumey. It has like a very floral, perfumey nose. It really reminds me of spring right now. It's like a cherry blossom.
Nice, good choice, James.
Pollen.
All right, let me get caught up, guys. Let me get caught up.
Yeah, Denny, I don't know about you, but these teas have a very distinctive aroma for me that's not terribly common.
Yeah, it smells incredible. Yeah, it smells like honeysuckle blossoms.
Yeah, it is super perfumey.
Yeah, smells great.
Yeah,
if you guys in
any,
chat, go ahead.
Smoke on the aroma?
Just a scratch. It's not heavy.
I haven't. I use like very cold, lukewarm water for my quick rinse, and I refresh my water. So I don't smell that yet. But
okay.
If you guys in chat aren't preheating your teaware, putting your leaves in there and letting them sit for a little while and just smelling the warm aromas, if you guys don't do that, you got to do that. There's so much. I haven't even put water on the leaves yet. Just smelling it, it's really nice.
Yeah. I get a little bit of the smoke. I mean, I can smell the pu'er vibe of it, definitely.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the supposed smoke or not is one of the more controversial things about this tea. There's discussions about it. Supposedly there's a couple different storages and the smoke is in some of them and not the others. Personally, I don't get a lot of smoke from the cake that I've been working from.
Yeah, it smells more like a raw or a red pu'er. Sorry.
Well, it was. I mean, it was there like in like the. It was there like in the first whiff, but I don't know. I could also be. My palate may have a little bit of the previous tea on there, which still has a level of smokiness, and there's a little bit. Shoot, why can't I think of it? Sulfur from the previous tea. The previous tea gives me like this little hint of sulfur, and I'm still picking that up in this, so my palate may have not had a chance to readjust. Question for James and Denny: how many teas/TeaDB episodes do you typically film in a single setting?
3.
Yeah, 3.
I enjoy watching them back to back because you guys get tea drunker by the third episode. It's always a ton of fun.
There's been a couple periods where one of us has been going out of town for like a couple months, so we have to film like 4 at a time. And I do not recommend the 4th episode usually because third one we're just pretty hyper and we've had a lot of tea. 4th one I feel like is the moment when incoherence starts to commence.
Do you guys change when you're doing those? Do you bother changing clothes between sessions? Make it look like it wasn't filmed on the same day?
Yeah, once upon a time we did.
Yeah, I wanted like have a hat on and then take the hat off.
That's awesome. Bronson wants to see a Denny versus Don Mayleaf advanced tea taste description competition. That could be interesting.
Sounds intimidating.
Let's see, what was it? Oh, I had to move my chat out of here. Jugpan, let me get to your comment. Let's see.
It smells wonderful. It does. It smells. I'm getting with boiling water on the leaves now. I'm getting a lot more of the age flavor, a little bit more of that kind of James. We often call it that kind of like garden earthiness, soil like and what's the age or the year on this?
2003, so it's 18 years old.
Jugpan wants to know how many times have you guys had a tea that you didn't like and stopped filming?
Very rarely. Usually using context clues, you can usually have a pretty good idea if a tea is just total trash, and we don't do TeaDB to just like trash a bunch of random teas. It wouldn't be very fun also. I'm struggling to think of a single time. I don't know, Denny, can you think of any times when we've actually just like stopped filming because a tea is so bad?
No, I can't think of a single one, and I think it's mostly because saving maybe the first 50 episodes, which is crazy how long ago that was at this point. When we bring on a tea we haven't ever tasted, we usually have a pretty strong idea of its characteristic, reputation, whatever. So either of us will have tried the tea first to bring it on. I usually go home from filming with James with a bunch of different samples, and then I do some homework and then come back and suggest something. So, and vice versa. So it's pretty rare. Again, to James's point, it's not a consumer report show. It's these are some good teas that we're enjoying right now.
Yeah.
So, I think I might rinse this twice.
Oh yeah? Get the funk out.
A little milky still. Yeah, it smells great.
Yeah,
thank you again for that previous tea. That was great.
Thank you. Yeah, this is super aromatic. A lot of really fun aromas going on. Was this Taiwan stored since 2000?
Good question. I don't know. Some sort of version of Hong Kong, dryish, obviously Hong Kong natural rather than Hong Kong traditional, to be clear, and Taiwan. So.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem like it's got too much of a wet funk on there. I got a nice little color going on, caramel amber.
Yep.
See what it looks like in the silver cup. Bring that up. Everything looks awesome in silver. It's one of my tests for if a show pu'er is dark enough. Like there we go. Look at that. If you can't see through it, If you can't see through the show pu'er in a silver cup, it's it's dark enough. It's one of my little tests.
Mm. Yeah.
It's very bright. I mean, it's a silver, obviously, a little bit, but we'll see how it gets in the
Here's
ice.
some more questions, y'all.
Questions? You want more questions? Let's see. We've probably got some in chats here. GD wants to know what's the ratio of total samples sent to you guys that are reviewed? How many teas get rejected before you review one?
God. I think I'll interject it and James can, because James knows way better, but it's not that we drink every sample we get. That would be impossible, which is a total privilege, and kudos to James for running this ship, because I'm comedic relief. But of the samples that we drink, for me, I'd say 1 in maybe 10, maybe. So I don't know.
1 in 10
against the total number of samples that we get that I get from James to try.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 in 30. No, that's too many. I'm probably 1 in 15. So maybe like 1 in 8 samples that I try. I asked to bring on.
Nice. I generally kind of find something roughly about a similar ratio for teas that we try versus teas that we actually consider selling. We probably try 9 teas for every one that we're like, okay, this is something that we should, pursue. And even when we go to pursue it, sometimes it doesn't even work out, which gets really frustrating. We've like I mentioned, we've been having lots of samples and stuff shipped to us. Had this really, really, really nice mid 2000s matcha that was that we were trying recently, and it was just so nice, and it was in a really decent price point. We didn't really know anything about like where where it came from. Knew it was kind of Kunming stored. It was just a really delightful little tea, and so we're like, shoot, we need to hit the hammer on this stuff, and then go back to work with that person, and then that person's like, oh yeah, well now I'm going to charge you more for it, and I'm like, come on, man. That's not even fair. So, just kind of had to, it was hard. Just kind of had to tell him to F off, or, you're just going to get that every single time. So it's just like, well, you know what? You just lost all the sale now, because now I don't really ever want to buy tea from you again, because you're just an idiot. But
what do you guys think of this tea? Speaking of interesting teas.
I find it. Oh, so I'm still on steep 1, and I can see why you did. I can see why you did 2 washes. I find it really, really, really milky. It's very it's got a very creaminess for me, which I like. It's very silky. It's got a very nice mouthfeel on it, and I like the I don't find it like bitter or astringent. We'll see what it does in the next steeps. But yeah, I can see why James liked it. Thank you, James.
Yeah. Oh man, I think it's totally spot on. Very creamy, very sweet. It's shockingly sweet. Not nearly as earthy as I expected it to be. I'm not getting any of the smoke. And if I had to hazard a guess at the age of this, I would not say 18 years. I would think it's much younger.
I'd say it's much younger.
I don't know if I could even call this, honestly. Maybe it's just because of our previous session blending a little bit into this one in terms of my flavor palette. But man, this is a sweetness and a crisp freshness that almost reminds me of some of the sweeter, fruitier black teas that I've had. Really, really interesting.
Let's see. Does it pass the mom test?
What do you guys think?
My mom would like this tea.
Sure.
I think 100%.
How many tests do you have now, James? You've got the hammer test, you got the mom test. What other tests are there? I'm spacing.
Do we do a hammer test? I don't know if we do a hammer test, but yeah, we have the mob test, the ultralight challenge. We have what else? We did a bank robbery test the other day. What sort of size bank would you rob? Like a neighborhood bank, with outdated security systems? Or are we talking like a Chase or a Bank of America? What else do we have? I mean, we'll just come up with random shit for each video. So I don't know how many reoccurring tests we actually have.
Yeah, none of it's pre-planned.
Nice. No, that's good. Yeah, I remember your
organic evolution.
Yeah, I remember your bank robbery one. I totally know what you mean about just like that aggressive energy kind of thing, which segues into the question. Jack123031 wants to know what everyone's opinion on a slightly controversial subject of cha-chi, or tea energy. Denny, what are your thoughts on tea energy? What are your thoughts on cha-chi? Is it marketing myth, or is there something there?
So the scientific person in me, which is basically what I believe, understands the half-life of caffeine and so forth. So from a purely physiological perspective, I think that it's probably overblown. I think the effects of drinking tea don't take place immediately. It's not like you're not witnessing the true physiological impact of tea a minute after you've had your first steeping. I think it's more about the environmental effects that it has on you. Is it a intense and stimulating a taste profile that causes you to be alert and active? Is it easier to drink and more mellow? And how you feel. So I think that there still are truths to be mentioned about those sorts of aspects of the sort of energetic experience of tea. I don't believe in energies. So for me, I'd say you're tapping more into a placebo sort of environmental psychology thing than direct. How do these polyphenols influence your brain chemistry type thing? But what do I know? I don't know.
James?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tough topic because I think, at least approaching it from a Western perspective, the cha-chi, can be kind of a big and a little bit nebulous and unclear what people are talking about as far as a concept.
Right.
Like some people could even use it to just describe is it more warming for your body, or is it like a headiness or something like that? And I do believe teas can have impacts of warming or cooling or certain headiness. Whether you call that cha-chi or not, I don't know. So, I mean, I'm not totally dismissive of the concept, but I think depending on who's talking and what they're specifically talking about, I think it's really difficult to pin down. So I don't know. That's kind of a cop-out of an answer, but I have very mixed and
so Denny denies, James does the cop-out. I guess I've got to go all in, right? Dude, so real. No, I think I probably, I don't know, I find myself on both sides of the coin. I'm definitely influenced by my, Western, scientific method upbringing and stuff. But, I've traveled around. I've lived long enough to be able to see things and experience things that I can't define in the Western view of the world. I'd probably ultimately say it kind of comes down to a gestalt of things. I don't believe in like that there's an actual mythical energy that's actually in the tea, but I can see why it gets described that way. And sometimes it may come down to some concepts of translation or mistranslation. Sometimes it's more considered. I mean, sometimes you'll see it in some of the Facebook groups and stuff translated as gas because they're mistranslating it. Like my tea gives you gas. You see that a lot. It's kind of funny, but it's not necessarily I don't know. It has to do with more of like a fuel perspective. But I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on it. But I've certainly had some teas where it's just very first steep is just just absolutely does something different than, I mean, you could look at Mountain Dew. I mean, I drank Mountain Dew most of my 20s. Mountain Dew has incredible amounts of caffeine, and so does, like Red Bull or Monster, which I've also had tons of. I have never, ever had an experience with like Monster or Red Bull or anything that's super caffeinated where like first sip, like I can just feel it just like hitting here and just like moving down around my body and stuff like that. So there's something different in tea, whether it's, what it is, chemically or scientifically, I don't know, but it's more than just, at least for my body, it's more than just a straight caffeine reaction.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree to some of that. Just sort of like there is a unique flow, for lack of a better word, that you can sort of have at parts of your body that, you wouldn't necessarily have from like straight caffeine or, I don't know, other, or even just a more ordinary mundane tea. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, and my description of it is it's still embodied. I mean, we're still, to your point, Glenn, having this visceral, corporeal reaction. It's not, but it's just, is it directly caffeine related? Is it the polyphenols? What is it? I would I think my guess, if I had to hazard one, would be more about the flavors themselves, the profile of the tea, and how it influences, how those flavors cause reactions in our bodies to influence us. And regardless, I think it's, I would say for sure I react to it. And so, but while that reaction is part of the interesting part of tea, I'm in it for the flavor, not necessarily for how it influences my body as much. That's just one interesting component of tea.
Denny, follow-up question for you. When you talk about flavor, do you just mean flavor as in like the very front facing stuff, like is it cherry, is it wood, or do you mean sort of like more of the comprehensive experience of like texture and aftertaste and mouthfeel, all combined as sort of like a big flavor category?
Totally. Yeah. I'm not being exact in my wording, and that's a great way of putting it. Yeah. When I say flavor, I just mean the whole holistic experience of having it, the smells in the room, the actual ceremonial aspect or ritualistic aspect of pouring the tea a certain way, heating up your teaware a certain way. All of that kind of builds into an experience that involves the texture, the weight of the tea, the flavor profile of the tea, the way that it smells versus tastes, all sorts of different things. Like, for example, with this tea tastes very different than it smells to me. And I'm really enjoying that kind of complexity of this tea.
Yeah, I think that gets into the gong fu style or the gong fu side of things, where you're actually like putting effort into it. And well, that would actually it would be an interesting for anybody out there that wants to do interesting side by side scientific experiments. Do everything 100% gong fu, where you're like putting all the focus, the time, the attention into it, but maybe just water, no actual tea. See if it gives you, like a little bit more of an experience. But yeah, you could certainly, like, there's a bunch of other stuff that you could actually do that with. I mean, that actually would give you some sort of a reaction from it. It's kind of interesting. Let's look at some other questions that we got here. What do we got? Somebody has a question about silver. What are the advantages or disadvantages of a silver cup? I mean, obviously, I sell silver cups, and we have silver cups made for us. So I'm certainly biased towards it. But I like silver for a couple of reasons. I like tea always just looks amazing, absolutely amazing in silver. Whatever tea you actually have, like it just glows. Just even like super dark teas and stuff, it's just gorgeous. You always just get like the absolute best color. So if you're looking to like make an easy upgrade to your tea photography game, grab a silver cup and throw something in there. Just absolutely glows. I do believe that silver offers some nice advantages to teas. It tends to kind of brighten them a little bit. I like to describe it kind of like a mathematical wave or something like that. It kind of like it makes it a little bit peakier. It brings the 10s up to 11 sort of. I don't really know of a lot of disadvantages. Silver teapots can actually get pretty expensive, but like silver cups are generally around like $50. You can use it for any tea, so it's not like clay where you have to dedicate it. Have you guys experimented or played around with silver much?
I have
Not a
not.
lot, no.
So I guess you guys can't give any authoritative answers about your experiences with silver. You guys should make that one of your 2021 goals. Get a little silver cup. So it's fun.
One
It's
question
actually,
for you.
yeah, go for it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, just so I noticed that you're using a really cool looking tea strainer.
Yeah, let me show that to you.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about strainer versus not? I think my evolution hasn't been intentional on this, but I
Yeah.
think I have had my own little evolution on it. What do you think?
Well, when we're testing teas and we're analyzing teas for purchase, I don't use the strainer. I kind of want to know, like, you know, how clear the actual tea is, and so I can look at the color of the tea and I can know that, you know, kind of like how well it was made based on how much is broken up. This is actually kind of nice. If you look like this, there's very little actual like dust that actually came out of this one. So that means, you know, like a lot of the leaves in this were actually like full and pressed and whole. You didn't see it before with like the previous one that I was doing. I mean, it might have to do with the compression of the cake as well. It was super clogged with just like a ton of particles. That means that a lot of the leaf was either broken during production or it was broken during the compression stage. So, you know, if you've got a filter, you can actually kind of use that as a way to kind of like look at some of the stuff that comes out. When I'm going to have like a nice session for tasting and enjoyment, I'll almost always use a filter, and it's usually this one here. I actually like this one a lot. So this is a Gen John, and so it is a potentially Song Dynasty. That's what we were told. Broken piece of a teaware that was pulled out of a Song Dynasty garbage dump near a kiln. Which is super cool, you know. Song Dynasty, that's like 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th century, you know, long time ago. They were making this technology. It's when they kind of invented the technology for doing this type of glaze work, and the idea that, you know, some potter out there had a broken bowl and he just tossed it into a pile, and somebody digs it out 1,000 years later and polishes it up and shoves a hole through the center and turns it into a filter, and, you know, like teaware gets a new lease on life. I think that's kind of awesome, but. Yeah, so I kind of use it ritualistically in my sessions. I enjoy it. It's technically the Gen John's supposed to enhance the add a little body to the tea as well. So
Yeah, do you notice a difference for it? I mean, just to go back to the original question.
I definitely notice a difference if I'm brewing in a Gen Shui bowl, if I'm actually like drinking from a bowl. I don't know if I've done a lot of side by side with, you know, what I've done with this filter and what I've done without this filter to know if it actually has enough of an impact as you're just pouring it through. But I certainly enjoy using it in the sessions. I've seen a few tea shops in Kunming have some similar stuff like that, and I was just like, man, that looks so cool. I gotta find one. So we were lucky to be able to find a couple here. James, what are your thoughts on filters? You filter yes, filter no?
No, I do not use one. It's been a long time, so it's I don't remember if I ever did any tests on it, but yeah, I just don't feel the need. I just get a little dust at the bottom, dump it out. It's fine.
You guys are
Yeah,
pretty straightforward.
Mine's not calculated. It's not because I've done side by side. It's purely laziness. I just don't see there being a need. It's the same thing. And the cool thing too about getting the gunk in the bottom, the first steeping or rinse, is that after that it's out. You don't have to deal with it as much. I think my experience in tea shops has been variable. Depends on the tea shop. I don't think there's a. By the way, I have no opinion about this. I'm just purely curious.
As you talk for 5 minutes on the topic.
Well, I do. I mean, I'm interested in other people, maybe in chat, if you want to post and if you use a filter or not, that'd be interesting too.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Sense of it. But you know, for me, it's purely just a laziness thing. So, but yeah, no, it's yeah, it's interesting because I'm thinking of the place that I know that I first encountered a filter brewed rolled oolongs, which are like some of the least important teas for a filter.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
Somebody else is asking more about silver. How much time does it take silver to self disinfect? I don't know. I know silver has is naturally antibacterial, but I don't know how long it takes to for something to actually do that. Secondary question was how it reacts with acids. It's a really good question. Oolong Owl did a nice review of silver one year when we went to Yunnan. I let her keep my silver pot for a couple months and told her to have fun and brew a bunch of stuff with it. And she said that it pretty much worked amazing for everything except for like teas that had like orange infusion. So anything that actually was acidic had some pretty strong adverse reactions to the tea. So it might not be a good idea to actually brew anything that is acidic in and with silver. Let's see. Corey, howdy, hands up. Just now popping in, starting a session of Year of the Pig Red Label with your teapot. Awesome. Thank you for joining us, Corey.
What are you guys thinking of this tea now? I've had probably, I don't know, 6-7 steepings at least.
It has an interesting, almost like like a black tea essence to me. Like I get just a little bit of a how would I describe it? I wonder if it has to do with maybe how fermentation happened before or after it was done. It has this like if somebody actually like told me that this was like fresh picked last year, like like Yunnan Dianhong. I have had Yunnan Dianhongs young that actually like have a little bit of this like essence to it, which I find kind of intriguing.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's I'm getting a little more of the classic pu'er flavors that I'm accustomed to. I've also just been using the same heat of water, so I'm gonna go and grab some more water and boil up some more.
Yeah,
water.
get it hot, man. Pu'er
Totally,
wants it.
yeah.
Pu'er wants it hot.
Although that's kind of an interesting question. Maybe while I go grab the water, you guys can weigh in on your perspective. But do you find yourself with certain teas going into more lukewarm temperatures every once in a while, or is it always like so you have a kind of set?
I want it
Speak
hot.
to that, Glenn.
I want it hot. Yeah,
Okay,
I'll answer that, and then James can. If anybody's been watching my streams, basically how I do it is I just steep I steep with however many ml it takes for that one, and then I add fresh cold water to it, and then bring it back up to that excuse me, to that boiling temperature. I know some shops and some people do like the steep it at boiling and then pour until they get down and then re-steep it all the way up. I actually like to keep the water as hot as possible. What about you, James?
Yeah, I guess I'm generally of the same view. If you're trying to regulate and make it a little weaker, then I would just rather keep the temperature at boiling and reduce the steep time rather than reducing the temperature. So the steep time is usually how I control for strength rather than that. I almost always use boiling for everything. And I guess one of the evolutions that I have had as I'm drinking tea is I'm just a little quicker to reboil than I was probably when I first got started. So reboil fairly often, just to keep that water hot.
Luke wants to know if we if anybody eats while they drink tea. I do sometimes, but usually not. I guess most of the teas I'm doing, I'm trying to actually focus on the tea. If it's a really heavy session and we're at a tea shop in Kunming, and we haven't eaten in a while, Llama will punch a couple buttons on her phone, and 5 minutes later, somebody shows up on scooter with a bunch of food, which helps us to have the constitution to continue on with the session. I'll probably be super hungry once this session is done. How about you guys? Do you eat with food, or do you eat with food? Everybody eats food. Do you eat with tea?
What about you, James?
Not if I want to concentrate on the tea. I'm not going to eat. I mean, unless it's like dim sum or something. And then the tea isn't necessarily the focus. So yeah, I mean, you definitely want to eat. Have tea on if you're especially going to have a lot of tea like we're having today. You want to definitely eat beforehand. I agree with that as well. But no, I usually try not to go once deep here, have some food. And if I'm going to do it, it's like a neutral thing, like a cashew or some sort of cracker, something like that is probably best. But even that will impact how you're going to taste the next steep, in my view.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time that I had food and drank tea at the same time. Probably literally a dim sum.
So we find it's actually somewhat important when we're doing tea tastings in person to at least have something on the table to munch. It's hard to know
sure.
like who, you know, when the people ate before they came, and you know, like pu'er tea can be intense, and you know, sometimes you just need a little something on the stomach. I'm actually much more partial to drinking pu'er tea on an empty stomach than I am black tea. Black tea just destroys me on an empty stomach, but pu'er tea I can handle it all the time. What we've found for our tea tastings is, yeah, like James mentioned, you want something that's roughly like palate neutral, but also a little bit filling. I've found graham crackers just work great. You know, it creates a nice little density in your belly, and it has just enough like sweetness and super like crunchy. Little graham crackers actually work great in a tea tasting session. It doesn't really overpower the tea.
Yeah, that's great. That's conscientious of you too. It would be brutal to be giving your friends some intense tea, and then it's like I felt so nauseous from it. I felt like I'd have to throw up before, for sure. So I will sometimes, every once in a while, run to get like a carrot and get something in my stomach.
Just get something in there.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Is that your favorite vegetable, Denny?
Oh my god. Oh boy. Oh gosh.
Do you do any home gardening, Denny? James, you guys got anything going in the yard out there?
You know, actually, yeah, a little bit of so lots of flowers. We have a beautiful Asian pear tree, and then right now herbs, and then I just started way too late in the season, but just started some tomatoes and then some spicy, super spicy hot peppers.
Nice. James, you got a green thumb? You grow anything out there?
Don't grow anything.
Nice. Let's see. Jumping into some questions. Zealousy's asked this a handful of times. I will get to it right now. I'm sorry I didn't get to it earlier. They want to know, what technology does TeaDB use for their videos? Any possible tech upgrades in the future? Any future tech? What do you guys got?
We use a Canon T3i camera. It's what we've used for, I think, all 8 years of TeaDB. And yeah, actually, Denny and I have been talking about upgrading. I just need to stop being lazy and cheap and just buy a new camera. So probably will happen sometime in the nearish future.
And you guys record audio on your phone usually?
Yeah, that's what we have. I did recently buy a couple mics, so we might change that too. Just got to find out what works well.
Have you guys ever thought about a multi-cam GoPro setup? You know, like camera on your hand as you're pouring, mull around here, give people like a six-way view. You know, it's the future, man.
I shoot on this for fun. This is a Sony A6100.
Nice.
It's a great mirrorless camera, and then I have a pretty solid, I think this is 18 to 105 zoom lens. I think it's probably f4. Let's confirm. Yeah, and I really enjoyed this. This is what we shot the infamous pu'er prison episode on, and then I also use for backpacking. Ultralight backpacking, I use a Sony RX100. This is the 5th version of it. It has a little pop-out screen in the back, so you can point it at yourself.
That's cute.
It's 11 ounces, which out in the woods, it matters to me.
Yeah.
And it shoots shockingly good 4K video.
Ounces or pounds?
Yeah.
Yep. They add up. They add up fast. Torn Ham says the Denny-sodes episodes are especially creative, really creative. So maybe we got any more Denny-sodes coming up?
I don't know. You know, yes, I will say I shoot so much that I don't release, which is like I'm sorry. I have stuff. I have me drinking tea in some really beautiful spots, doing it in winter, in the snow, doing it next to rivers, in the mountains. Yeah, sorry, y'all. I'm just kind of lazy.
I'll throw something out there. Next year, April 1st, I'd love to see a Denny Sode style Blair Witch recreation, pu'er witch. You're just kind of out in the woods, just getting further lost, and just getting more tea energy. I don't know, whatever. Just throw that out there. I'll just toss it out there. You guys can play with it or not.
And in the next episode, Denny's just gone. He's missing.
Yeah, that's like every 5th episode, anyways. Where'd he go?
I haven't filmed one in a long time. I apologize, fam. I'm sorry. But yeah, actually, the April Fool's episodes are really fun to think about, and I think about them for a long time.
I can tell. A lot of thought goes into them.
Well, or just sometimes the idea or premise or gimmick is very simple, but I love doing it. It's funny. And like, I think that as adults, well, I don't know how much I relate to this or not, but I feel myself having the impulses of trying to be more serious, and I try to actively resist them, because, and I can be so serious about certain things, but having fun, tea for me is fun. I really want it to just be a fun thing that I get to do with James, the show, and then for my own pleasure, just to enjoy tea as I see. So, yeah.
Somebody else, Ronan, is also talking in chat again about bank robbing teas. There you go. That's another episode. You guys could actually film like an actual heist with the tea and how it went. Actually, shoot. Now that I think of it, I don't know. Maybe I'll find like a super chachi tea this year and just call it heist. That's a good. This is how tea names are made.
Boom! I like it.
It's sued by
TeaDB.
TeaDB.
You can send my 15% cut to PO Box. Just kidding.
Yeah. That's fun. This is what happens. You get a little tea drunk, kind of come up with fun ideas. Jack 1230321 says, how much information do you want to know about a tea before you buy it? Oh, that's a good question. And what makes you push the button and buy a pu'er? Sample first and then a cake, or is a cake a sample?
Is that to us or to you, Glenn?
I think that's to you guys. I mean, I can answer it as well, but why don't you guys go first, then I'll answer afterwards.
Yeah. So could you repeat the question real fast?
Basically, how much information do you want to know about a tea before you buy it, and what makes you actually push the button and buy a tea? So let's say like the tea. Let's say you only know what's about a tea on basically what's on the web, on a website, right? So you haven't actually tried the tea before. What makes you actually go like, oh yeah, like that's I would definitely try that. And then the second follow-up question for that from the same person is, do you buy that? Do you just buy a sample, or do you buy the cake? Is cake a sample for you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a fairly complicated question. I mean, there's a lot of things that I personally will look for. For me, I tend to prefer semi-aged teas. I tend to prefer teas that are stored in a place like Taiwan, Malaysia, Hong Kong, over something that's a little drier. So those would probably be two key parameters I'm looking for. I'd probably also pay attention to just the source it's coming from. If it's someone that I'm not familiar with, I guess it would mean, did I get a recommendation from this person? Do my tastes align with this person? I mean, it's nothing very complicated. It's just a lot of different basic kind of just different signals that you make to make consumer decisions. So I would probably not have a cake as a sample if it's like a $300 cake. I look to get a sample some other way, cake split or whatever. But if I had to, and the tea was super intriguing, I guess I could just buy a cake as a sample if the price was not too crazy. So probably $100 or less. And it was super interesting. So I don't know. I don't know if that totally answers the question.
Every tea vendor in the chat is currently taking furious notes.
So yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I don't buy a lot of tea totally blind too often. So usually it'll be from a recommendation or something like that from someone that I do trust, and that usually is the strongest endorsement for something.
Denny, what about you? Do you buy a lot of pu'er?
I don't buy pu'er very much, to be honest with you, so I think I'll definitely defer to James there on that. For myself personally, I want to have tried the tea for a lot of them before I buy it if I can, or it's a vendor who's spent a lot of energy curating a small amount of teas to try. Even then, if it's a cake of something, especially a young pu'er, I want to make sure that I've tasted it first before I invest the money in a large quantity of it. Of course, just typical things, if you're drinking a tea meant to be drank quickly, a young fresh tea, just try to make sure that it's been processed recently. And if you know the vendor has tons and tons and tons of teas, definitely consider trying it before buying it and getting a sample first. Again, whereas, if I know the vendor and I know they only offer 4 different Taiwanese oolongs, and I've loved the other 2 I've had from them so far, I'll probably just go in and get the other 2. Whereas maybe it's a new vendor I don't know about, and then a friend recommends them. Fantastic. Also, I just encourage everybody out there to email the people that you're buying from. It's their job and livelihood, and they will write you back, I think. I've always been surprised at how often people respond to emails when I ask an interesting or thoughtful question. So do your homework and then reach out to people. I think you'll be shocked at how responsive people are.
All right.
That being said, the denny@tdb.org email never has sent a single email. So,
Don't email me.
At responding. Yeah.
Don't email me.
It's a big black hole. That's funny. For my answer to the question, we probably have entirely different buying habits as than a traditional pu'er tea consumer. We're given lots of teas for free from tons of vendors in China all the time. Every time we go there, I've got boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of cakes that I've never even tried. I don't know. It's so we're almost always working from the matcha angle because I'm looking for stuff that I can put into our blends. I will usually buy a few hundred grams from somebody who has some matcha material, whatever it is, and I'll never buy something sight unseen. We don't ever really buy things for our own personal consumption. All the teas that we drink in a given day are from our own offerings. So I'm probably not the best one to do that, to answer that question. But that's kind of how we do it. Let's see, other questions. Zealousy wants to know, given James's experience with blind tasting the Shumageddon finals, any plans to drink future teas blind on episodes or a mystery series?
No current plans, no. Blind tasting, it's kind of a pain in the butt. And also it's not necessarily that fun to do too regularly. So, yeah, just in terms of like your own enjoyment, sometimes it's nice to know what you're having ahead of time and just sort of mentally process that and that information. When you blind taste, you're often wondering, what is this? What region? What factory? Whichever, which is a really interesting sort of intellectual exercise, but it's not necessarily the most fun to be doing on a regular basis all the time. That's my view, at least.
Corey Warrington in chat. Hey, Glenn, Denny, James, do you guys have any recommendations for handling a teapot more safely, for lack of a better word? Nerve damage in my hands keeps me from using mine during fear of dropping it. Tough. That's tough. At a minimum, I'd suggest doing something like having a cord attached, right? So a lot of the silver ones do that primarily because it's too hot to touch the lid, So this one here, if you're sitting there holding it, that lid's not gonna pop off even when it does that. But yeah, if you've that's tough. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on safe handling of I-Ching with hand issues?
Yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead, James. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say use two hands all the time. And I don't know. I mean, like I personally just got a lot better at handling gaiwans and clay teapots by handling gaiwans and clay teapots. So, you know, you just get repetitions, you get used to it. And maybe that works. I mean, I don't know the specifics of the condition, so hard to say.
I might recommend like a Kyusu style. You can get like
Side
a much
handle.
Yeah, you can get a side handle one. So after doing this motion for years, this is actually not a natural motion for your shoulder to do. And after years and years and years of like gaiwan tip, my shoulder has some not fun issues, and so I find that like a Kyusu style pot is actually super ergonomic because it's a little bit more motion here as opposed to a shoulder motion. You can also get a really strong grip on something, but even if it has like a branch coming off of the side, some of the makers and stuff. It doesn't help for I Ching because I Ching doesn't really do stuff like that, but it's an option, I guess. Michelle,
in
go ahead.
general, quickly to interject, that I would treat it like I do with my phones, which is I don't buy new phones. I buy used phones that are 2 years old because I know I'm going to drop it. So I personally have certain categories of things in my life that I'm very comfortable completely destroying. I think maybe make the distinction for yourself of this is my, I'm going to learn how to pour in a way that I can trust myself, teapot, and I graduate into a nicer teapot that I already own. You don't want to be experiencing nervousness when you're just trying to have a cup of tea. So just do yourself the favor of using something that you don't feel any reservation about potentially just shattering. To James's point too, earlier, it's pretty affordable to go ahead and just get a gaiwan. A Yixing pot is a little bit nicer for certain teas, but I think functionally speaking, you can get a lot out of just a classic string mix.
Actually, the full hand gaiwan pour with the lid is actually also a really nice option because you can actually get a really strong like grip on that. It's a lot easier than just kind of like the 3-finger pour. Oolong Owl's got a great comment. She's like, it's expensive, but a silver teapot, if you drop it, it only dents. You'll never break a silver teapot, and silver teapots actually work really well for a lot of stuff. Michelle Hovey, a tea drinking potter, ceramicist, says DM Winking Cat on Instagram. She said she might be able to help you out. She does a lot of cool teaware stuff, so that could be a fun option. Corey says, lid lanyard to attach the teapot to the Kyusu. There are some potters, like Mark Moeller, Sanguine Teapots. He does some teapots that actually have like an integrated lid holder, so that you actually can just hold it with the whole hand. And when you tip it over, like the lid only ever catches, so you don't have to do like the finger on the lid, which is an interesting option. So some good options out there.
Interesting clamp for like expensive gaiwans the other day. So there are some really interesting solutions. I have no idea how well any of them work, but yeah, it's kind of funny to see what people come up with. But I mean, my view is
go ahead.
My view is probably similar to Denny's. It's like if you have teaware and you use teaware, there's a good chance teaware is going to break at some point. And so you just kind of have to deal with that reality in a certain way. I mean, unless you're dealing with silver. If you have everything silver, maybe you're good to go for life. But I think most people are not using exclusively silver.
And I think we probably all agree that the most important thing is to just make sure that you get to go and enjoy your tea. Yeah. If that means that you have to use a strainer with a push button and use something completely different, totally fine. Again, the point is to just go and have a good time with this.
Or even grandpa style, or you can do a lot with different tea options. You can actually create something that is gong fu styled, even just using like a coffee mug and a filter. Pour it in there. Like leave it in there for a minute or so. Just like pour it straight through like a strainer into another mug and stuff, and you can get a lot of the same thing with stuff that might be a little easier to hold and stuff. Shoot, we've got like 10 minutes left. I figured we'd cut this thing short at like about 2 hours. Really appreciate all of your guys' time on this. In the last 10 minutes, if anybody has any questions, throw them into the chat. If James or Denny has any topics that they've wanted to discuss but have not brought up yet, now is the time.
What do you guys think about this tea now? It's been, I don't know, maybe like 12 steepings for me, something like pretty, I rarely take teas this long. I will say for myself personally, I'm really enjoying how dynamic this tea is still. It tastes much more like a classic pu'er to me. There's still hints of that saccharine sweetness, but I'm getting much more of the, peatiness and the classic age that I would associate with the pu'er tea. I'm really enjoying this one, as well as the first one too. Both have been great. So, and I'm very hydrated.
Yeah, you're definitely very hydrated. I'm going to be super hungry after this. I'm probably going to go and make a big giant hamburger. I don't know. After a nice big long like sheng session, I get what I call the shungries, and I just want just a big burger. It's like, you guys ever been to a Smarty Pants in Seattle? Sandwich restaurant. There's one in Georgetown. There's one in down south. Ever been to Smarty Pants?
I think I have.
Motorcycle cafe racer / sandwich bar.
Yeah. I've been there.
Love it. If you guys have never been, get down to Georgetown sometime. Georgetown, they've got a Smarty Pants in Georgetown. I love it. I love the aesthetic. I love everything about it. And when we were in Burien doing tea tastings at Phoenix Tea, they're like a block from Smarty Pants down there. So Lama and I we'd be drinking tea all day, like 12 to 6. Anybody can come in, have tea with us. We do like a nice big long afternoon Friday session, and then I'd go to Smarty Pants and just get the biggest sandwich and fries, burger and fries, and I just chow down on it. And that's kind of one thing I might do in the post-COVID world. A little bit more local cuisine options would be kind of nice.
Pu'er and greasy food are such a good pairing.
So good together.
It's true. I think just the combination of something really intense and bitter with a backsplash of like satiating fattiness. Anyway, yeah.
But to finish answering Denny's question on my final thoughts on this tea. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of the same thing. It's taste the more I get into the sessions and the steeps, the more it is. I'm getting like traditional like sheng flavors from there. I was really surprised at some of the black tea-ish notes. Do we know where this came from in Yunnan?
It's an Iwu tea.
It's an Iwu tea. Okay, all right, nice. Yeah. I might have guessed it. I might have guessed Ailaoshan. Ailaoshan for me has some similar characteristics. So I would have guessed wrong. Very 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 nice. I find. I guess like if this was a tea that I was considering for like purchase and adding to the Crimson Lotus tea inventory, I guess it would come down to. To cost specifically. I think the tea's a really nice one. Probably for my taste, it's probably a little bit on the lighter side. I guess maybe I like something that's just got comes out a lot, punching a little bit more. Maybe that's the Crimson Lotus tea experience. I don't know, but it's been very enjoyable to drink this, and I'm very very happy that you shared some of your tea with us. It's very very nice.
Yeah, glad you both liked it.
It's really fun. I think every time I've ever had tea with you, it's like me, like, hey, let's drink one of Crimson Lotus teas. And so I was really excited for the option. I was like, shoot, man, let's do 2 teas, but this time, like, I want you to like show me what you like. And so this is kind of nice. It was a fun opportunity. Let's see what else we got. In the chat. Ivory Flute wants to know our experiences for tea energy with this. I certainly had some. I find this the energy in this tea very 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 relaxing. It's a very very calming tea. The first tea was a little bit more manic for me, so I found this one's really nice. That's kind of like balance things out for me. What about you guys?
I think so too. Yeah, I don't feel like it's crazy stimulating. I feel pretty mellow. It's nice. I think the profile has a crispness, but the balance of the age with the flavors that are kind of fresh, I think is really fantastic. So yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. I feel warm. Just stoked to be here too.
It's very crisp.
And, sharing some tea with you guys.
Yeah, this is fun. Energy for you, James. Thoughts on energy with this tea? You've probably got the most experience with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, very comfortable tea for me.
Yeah.
Easy for me to drink this for sure. So, and I tend to like teas that are a little bit more on the warming end. So I think Denny mentioned that. I'm not sure how you find it, Glenn, if this is more warming or cooling. For me, it's definitely more in sort of that spectrum. Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of aspects about this tea. I don't know if it's like does one thing where you're like, wow, but it has like a very nice balance. I really like the aftertaste on it. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting a little off topic off the energy, but yeah, the energy for me, very comfortable, warming. Yeah.
Do you think this tea always had a warming energy? What do you think this tea was like in 2003? Do you think it was more cooling back then?
You know, I have no idea. Based off of what people have said, people that have gotten like sort of the smokier cakes have. I mean, I'm guessing it was a fairly smoky tea when it was younger, which is sort of interesting because personally, I don't pick up on a ton of that at this point. My guess also is that it was probably pretty different from what we look at as sort of like the young Iwus now. So like a 2020, 2021 Iwu. My guess is it probably didn't taste a whole lot like a 2003 Zipin in 2003. So I would be very interested to know what it tasted like back then, but I don't know that I have a great guess.
You're also finding as the definition of Iwu gets broader, you're starting to find a lot more people selling things as Iwu that don't have like that specific early original like Iwu characteristic. I think it was much more closely defined for, you know, like what the Iwu taste had to be, especially, you know, like pre, you know, bubble 2008 and stuff. So this is probably specifically characteristic of what like they wanted the definition of Iwu to be. It's just my opinion now. I mean, Iwu got such a great name. I think you're starting to find a lot of people, even though you're finding stuff in Iwu, I think in the past they would have like not sold an Iwu tea as Iwu if it didn't fit like the very specific characteristic of what Iwu is.
It means something different in now than it did 18 years ago.
Yeah,
or at least it has sort of a broader definition.
Let's see what else we got for questions. GD mentioned talking to Cora. Yeah, the Discord. If you guys aren't in the Discord, discord.gg/tea. If you've got questions about like how to brew tea safely, probably a great opportunity to ask the people in there. It's a 24/7 conversation about tea. A lot of really authoritative people, including vendors like myself and bloggers and TeaDB's brained people are also in there. I think Denny is not in the Discord.
Denny is just a meme in there, so he lives on
Denny lives 24/7 in people's
Denny,
brains.
can you do anything on camera now to make another meme?
Denny, do it.
The people.
Do it, Denny. Do a meme.
I am not a performing meme monkey family. You can just crop any of the videos that I'm in from TeaDB for that.
Trying to unionize again. Damn it.
Yeah, pay me my fair share, affiliate links on my memes. No, I appreciate so much that I have become a joke, and it's really been always a joke.
I think it's a position of honor. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a joke. You've been honored in the memes, man. I
like it.
I don't think I have a team meme. I don't think anybody's memed Glenn from Crimson Lotus Tea. So man, you're in a position of respect.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll take it.
Jugpan wants to know what's the weirdest stuff you guys have found in a Taobao pu'er cake. So we can just say any pu'er cakes. What's the weirdest thing you guys have found in cakes of pu'er?
I mean, just hair. I was like fishing out a small piece of hair from from this tea too. I just you just find a lot of hair in tea.
A lot of hair in tea.
Yeah, there's a lot of hair. Weirdest? I don't know. I mean, like you always get like stuff like strings. I feel like strings is like the second or third most common thing.
Like that specific like plastic green string. Like
I've seen those for sure.
Yeah, that comes from the mouth job bags. It's just woven plastic is all it is. It's just so easy for that stuff to just degrade. It's a really low quality plastic. You leave it out in the sun long enough, it starts to degrade, and it frays and stuff. It's kind of like it would be really similar to like a blue tarp. Like you leave a blue tarp out in the sun long enough, it starts to do like that fray thing, and it comes into these long little strings. That's all it is. It just breaks off, and it's literally impossible to look at a pile of matcha and find the one string. It's like the exact same color. It looks just like a leaf. It's just like you work really hard to try and pick them all out, but still, it's there. Let's see. Weirdest thing I've found. I found like an actual like rhinestone once. Like I thought that was like pretty cool. That was in an old warrior cake. And if you know anything about the ladies in Yunnan, they like their fashion. They like style, and they like sparkly clothes. They go to the city and they buy some nice big sparkly clothes. They go back to their tea mountains, and they will wear their finest when they're out there picking tea and processing tea. And it's a lot of rhinestones, rhinestone studded hats, rhinestone shirts. A lot of really fancy pictures of what traditional Yunnan people would wear when they were processing tea. You almost never see that. They like to look nice, and I can totally imagine somebody was just processing the tea and a rhinestone like popped straight off their clothes, went right into the cake, and so rhinestone studded. All right, I'll do one final question. Let's see. Tea burnout. Have you guys ever faced tea burnout? What did you do? How did you handle tea burnout?
I just switched what I drink. I don't think I think I definitely get over certain types of flavors. I just need to take a break from it, but it's pretty easy to tea is so big.
Yeah.
So yeah, just drink something different.
James, how about you?
Yeah.
Same thing? Same answer?
I mean, it's just about setting the right pace to be a very sustainable one. It's like, yeah, you'll probably burn out of tea if you're drinking a ton of samples a day, and that's like an unsustainable tea habit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just about settling into the rhythms of tea that best suit what you're trying to do. It's like, for instance, Denny has coffee in the morning and then tea throughout the day. It's like
switch to the herbals.
What their habits are. Yeah, herbals.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed being able to do this. I'm really happy that Denny was able to make it onto an episode. I think it's a lot of fun to have both of you guys on. This is super cool. Any final stuff you guys want to throw in?
Thanks so much, Glenn, for having us, for having me. I hope the memes are strong with this one.
Yes.
And I hope everyone out there gets to go and had a good tea session today, gets to go have a good day. And yeah, thanks again for having us on. I'm sure there's all sorts of places you can find us, but TeaDB on Twitter, TeaDB.org on Instagram. Don't make the mistake. Don't switch us up. Denny Creates. I put it down on the bottom there. Denny Creates on Instagram for the once or twice a year that you actually make an Instagram post. At TeaDB on Instagram. You're far more active, and TeaDB.org is your blog site, which you are also. Actually, you haven't put up a blog in a little while, have you?
No, I haven't. Yeah.
Well, that takes a lot of work, right?
Stuff. Yeah, I mean, we've been doing videos pretty regularly, so yeah. I've been more focused on that. But yeah, I mean, probably get back to writing at some point towards the end of the year.
Awesome. Yes, again, thank you so much, both of you guys, for spending the time with us, and thank you for putting up, everybody in the stream. Thanks for putting up with a lot of our tea related silliness. It's a lot of fun. We had I don't know, like 69, 70 concurrent. Pretty awesome following. I'm glad everybody tuned in, had some fun, and hope you guys have a really good week and drink a lot of good tea. Awesome. All right. Peace. Thanks again.